Hello, everyone. This is GastonLemo here. We're going to be recording today a session regarding the MRP profile. Okay. Basically, the MRP profile will help us to predetermine certain values for certain fields we'll define in the profile for the MRP views. Okay. Remember that we have 4 MRP views in the material master. So we will create a profile in this session, and then we're going to assign that profile to an existing material. We will check the differences between the two type of fields we're going to define. One field is going to be a fixed value field, means we will put a value there and we cannot change it after assigning the profile to the material master. Okay. And in other cases, when it's just a default value, means the system will copy that value as a proposal, but you can change it when you're doing the material creation or changing the material, right? So let me jump into the transaction. So we have MMD1. So we can copy also as a template from another profile. This will be very, very useful. You will see later. In this case, we don't have any in the system. By the way, the system I'm using is pretty clean system, so there are not too many things already. So this is a good opportunity for us to start improving the system, adding all the configuration that is needed, right? So in this case, this is a master data, by the way, okay? But just saying in general, there is a MRP profile here. So we can create, for example, let me just, let's put a very simple numbering, okay, like first one, second. Unfortunately, it's only 4 digits, so it doesn't tell us too much, okay, but we should be in the description, be careful and start assigning the MRP profile depending on the needs, okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that we might need several MRP profiles, because we might have several, let's say, scenarios. Okay, for example, purchase raw material, right? We can have finished product, we can have finished good, etc. So we might have different profiles for the different scenarios. Okay, in this case, let's create one for a finished product. So I'm not going to copy from any other because there is none. Okay, that's what I was saying. So let me just create the first one here. Okay, let me just press enter. Description. Here we will say MRP profile for, and it's not even finished goods, because we might have different profile for finished good, right? So we might have finished good that are really critical in the supply chain. So we might need to use advanced planning, for example, and there might be other finished goods that are not necessarily be run with advanced planning. We can just do the regular MRP live. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, in this screen, as you can see here, we have fields, all the fields in the MRP views, and we have two types of columns, as I mentioned before, the fixed value and the default value. Okay, we will just start selecting a few of them. Hopefully I don't miss any, but then you can come back and modify. The good thing about the MRP profile is that for the fixed values, okay, it's kind of a template. It means that if you change that later, the materials that are sharing or assigned, let's say more than sharing, they're assigned to this one, will share, okay, or inherit the same fixed value. It's not the same with the default value, okay? The default value change here will not override the already existing materials with this MRP profile assigned to them, okay? But the fixed value will change them, okay? Okay, so let me start selecting MRP type. Okay, let's assume it's an MRP finished good, PD, for example. Okay, we will use in this case as an example PD. So in that case, we will fix this MRP. Okay, you might create a new profile. Okay, let me put the value here. Oh, sorry. Let's make sure here. So P001. Okay. Then you might have for example, demand driven. Okay, the D1, the new ones in S4HANA, for example, right? Or we can have no planning, etc. Okay, so you can define multiple, as I said, um, profiles. Okay, so it's up to you, depending on the definition by the business. Okay, MRP controller. Of course, we need this. Okay, the MRP controller. We might say we always need, since this is a finished good, right? We define that we will have this, MRP controller 003. But depending on the definition, you might have multiple MRP controller for finished goods, depending on the business line, right, or the chemical type that you're producing. Okay, so let's suppose you produce fertilizers, as we are going to do, right? You also produce antibiotics, just for saying something, right? Then you might have different MRP controller, definitely, okay, because they're different businesses, so you need to have specific people to attend those different businesses, okay. MRP controller. So let me put it again. Since I'm saying this, we will use always the same one, okay? But it's up to you. I mean, you can put just a suggestion and then change it. But keep in mind that the purpose of having a MRP profile is to facilitate the harmonization for the MRP views, okay? So, for example, if you were to start creating from scratch, you might miss a field, or you might put the wrong value to one field that you shouldn't, right? So in that case, it's better to have kind of a template like this, or profile, right, that you can use always the same values. And of course, there are some values that should be dynamic, cannot be fixed, right? When we're talking about safety stock, for example. Of course, not all the products, even though they are similar in their finished goods, you want them to run under the PD MRP type, for example, but not necessarily the same stock level, right? So ABC indicator, we're not using it, at least for our purposes, but let's put default value here, okay? Of course, it's not going to be a fixed one unless you are creating these for finished goods that are critical or something like that, or a raw material that it's really critical. You might use as an A, and you always want to put the value A here, right? But in this case, let's just propose something. Plant delivery time in days. Okay, we're going to propose, of course, this might change. Okay, so it has to be a default, cannot be a fixed one. The same in-house production time, right? It's just a default. Schedule margin key. In this case, we can use one or the other. Since we have only one, I think, in this time, okay, let me just put it as a default. Indicator for individual, yeah, no need to change this. Safety stock here, okay. If you don't put a template here, of course, the field will continue to be available for you to do any addition or change. Reorder point only if it's reorder point the MRP type, okay. So let me leave this blank without any lot sizing procedure. Yeah, sizing procedure. This one we might want, yeah, just a default. Rounding value is a default, definitely. The minimum default. Maximum default as well. Fix will be used only if it's a fix procedure, right? Lot sizing procedure fix, FX, well, you need to put a fixed value here. So unless you are putting a fix here specifically, you cannot put it as a fix in, right, or fix the value here. Okay, maximum stock level, it's only if you use the maximum stock level, right, the H1, but we're not using that here as a fixed one. Lot size independent cost, we're not going to use that. Splitting, this is, yeah, no. Good receive processing time, yes. We need this, but it's going to be a default. Quite arrangement. These are particular for specific scenarios, okay? So unless you have a lot of profiles, you can create a specific one for them. Put this in group. Okay, let me put some purchasing group just as a default, but not necessarily would be a fixed one, of course. Planning calendar, it's a proposal. We have only one, so probably will be that one, or maybe we can fix it. Yeah, okay, let me fix it. Yeah, because there's only one for the plant. Repetitive is not valid here. We're not going to use this. This is for repetitive manufacturing. Planning time fence is not mandatory unless you make it mandatory, right? Using MPS. Consumption node, yeah, consumption node. Okay, we can use this for finished good, right? Yes, okay. Consumption mode. Let me put some proposals backwards and forward. The MRP group, I believe we don't have one yet. We need to configure that. We will do that soon in another video. Component scrap, yeah, we don't need to fix that. Planning material is not needed. Planning plant is not needed. Planning cycle, planning strategy group. Okay, let me do a proposal here, right? Special procurement type is going to be blank. Safety, yeah, okay. Procurement type, yeah, procurement type. Let me fix this one because this is a finished product we're producing. So yeah, it should be procurement type E, okay, in-house production. Okay, so I think we cover everything. Yeah, okay. So we can come back and do any change later. Okay, so no need to be 100% sure necessarily this time. Okay, so let me continue. We should see, oh, just, yeah, probably we need to go here. Sorry. Okay, so what we see here is basically the view, right? That we define the fields, and this is representing the view as well. Okay, so MRP type. So this will be mandatory, and we will say PD. We set PD, right? The standard for this case. MRP controller, we said that it's also fixed because it's going to be 003, right? For the, no, 3. Procurement type, we said E. E, it means in-house, okay? This is mandatory, right? Then we said we don't have this one. This will be just a proposal. Strategy group, let me put the 40, which is the plan. It's the planning with final assembly, okay? 40. Purchasing group, this is the let's say a manufactured product, okay? But anyway, since we might use in the future, we can put the purchasing group anyway. Okay, purchasing group is already defined. Planned delivery time. This is always when you purchase this. Okay, it doesn't have any value if this is a manufactured product. Okay, but we can put this as a standard generic value in case we want to convert this and start purchasing for some reason, as I mentioned before, right? Safety stock. This is a proposal because we don't know. This will vary product by product, right? Or by group of products. In-house production. This is important because the MRP will pick up this value, right? So in-house production, let me assume 2 days, not 3, 2 days. Okay, margin key, I think we have only 2. Let me choose the neutral one now. Yeah, I think we have GL here. Yeah, the neutral is this one. This time, it's a proposal, okay? Lot sizing procedure. We said that, yeah, it's going to be a proposal only because we might want to change it. Let me assume the weekly one. And rounding value, yeah, definitely this might vary product by product. Okay, probably we shouldn't have selected these fields. Okay, because it's really difficult to group them by different quantities, right? Random value may change. If it's a bag, it's 25. Another product might be 26 because it has more density, for example. Okay, so maybe we shouldn't have selected this one, to be honest. Okay. What else? Good receipt processing time. Yeah, let's assume it's 1 day, right? Remember that this will contemplate the quality inspection plus other paperwork and material movements you need to do at the warehouse or the plant. Okay. MRP group, we can assign it as well, right? But I think we don't have any this time, so let me just leave it blank. Yeah, there is no. Oh yeah, we do have one. Okay. I just created one here. I forgot, but we should review that because we need to carefully define the MRP groups because the combination of the MRP group will determine. I mean, for the materials, we can assign different parameters, MRP parameters, depending on the MRP group. So it's important to have a planning of how many MRP groups do we need, etc. So we will have a specific video for that. Okay, but this time we're going to just assign the 001. Okay, so let me jump into the second one. As we said, the ABC, we can put just a proposal as significant material. Remember, C is the less value typically, and A is the major value or most important, depending on the criteria you can define. Okay, in some cases is because of just the value, other is because of the difficulty to purchase. Okay, or long lead times, for example, can convert some low value material into a significant material because without it you cannot produce and it's hard to find even though it's cheap. That's an example. Okay, so again, it's criteria, right? Planning calendar. Okay, we have only one. I have selected one. I created, and this is the one. Okay, for consumption mode, we are going to use backwards and forward. This is a typical way of using it. So backwards, we want to get rid of everything in the past, and we want to consume only 15 days in the future. We will see in another videos the concept behind this, but basically the higher the value here means more days upfront you want to consume. You're being conservative. You don't want to have high stock levels. Okay, so you're assuming that the purchases you're receiving now, the sales orders, will consume that in the future, right? So the lower the value, you want to start producing a little bit more. Okay, you want to have higher stock levels in general. So if I put 1 day here, it means that if a new order comes in, okay, you will consume everything, and then you want to start proposing new, let's say, new production. Okay, if you put this, I don't know, 30, 60 days in the future, and you have planning dependent requirements for the future in terms of next month, for example, you're still going to be consuming before you send to production, the request to production. Okay, it means you're being more conservative. Okay, I don't want to take so much time for this, but basically that is what it is. Okay, so I think we have everything, and now we can save. Okay, yeah, let me save it. So we have created this P0001 profile. Okay, so let me do the following now before we close this session. Basically, this is the material we created in another video. This is our finished good. Okay, so this time, let me just remove everything. I'm going to select only this one. Well, actually, I can select the four of them. So organizational levels, let me confirm. Up, storage location 3. Okay, so these are the values we have currently. I think we haven't forgotten anything. Yeah, let me check the MRP4 now. Yeah, I think we cover everything here. Okay, so we do have all these values. I need to keep in mind that I might miss something when I apply the new profile. Okay, I just want to be sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so it looks like in the past when we created, we assigned a few values here, but they got deleted, let's say, because we assigned the advanced planning. Remember that when we go to advanced planning, the system, if we don't put too much information there, specifically for our scenario, right? We I mean, the system will make assumptions, okay? And those assumptions, of course, some of this is not used, okay? It's going to be proposed internally in the system. Okay, so let me just show you how to assign the MRP profile we just created, okay? Should be something here. It should be edit, yes. Edit MRP profile, okay? So we can go here to assign or change, okay? So in the future, let's suppose you have one for finished goods, right? And you're doing so many changes at the same time because you have different groups of finished goods, like I said before, then you realize that you need to create a new profile. Then you want to assign the new profile, right? So it's the same thing. In this case, there is no assignment yet. So we will assign, in this case, the only one we have, but of course, you should have several here, okay? Okay, we're going to be assigning this. Excellent. See that the MRP type is gray out, means you cannot change it anymore because we define it the same for the MRP controller. We define it as fixed value, okay? The others are just proposals, okay? That's why we have these values here, okay? Let me check the MRP2. Yeah, it's mandatory now because this is the finished good, produced finished good. We might have finished good that are not produced, right? So that's why I was saying that you need to plan ahead all the different profiles and splitting into the different scenarios that you might have. Okay. So storage location 3, in-house production, the 5 days. Plan calendar is mandatory as well. We still left this as a proposal, so we can change it, of course, right? Because we might have 1 day only or 3 days for the other product, etc., right? And the same for good receipt here. By the way, the good receipt here is also valid for production, okay? So that's why this is important as well. Safety stock definitely might change, right? Depending on the product and that kind of stuff. MRP4, yeah. So maybe we should have fixed this as well and put it into the profile because we might use a strategy group. We are not going to be using too many, I would say. Once you define for your business what's the best strategy, you start using it, right? If you want to produce this like this with considering it's make to stock, but considering the sales orders, or you want to do make to order, or you want to do make to stock, right? Only, etc. But anyway, this is for the sake of showing you the usage of the profiles, the MRP profiles. And that's it. MRP4, there was nothing changed here. Yeah. So now I'm going to save the product because the product has that profile assigned. Okay. If I go back again, it's going to be 3 instead of 1. If I go to edit, we have the, here. We need to go to MRP. Yeah, MRP1. Okay, to be available, you need to be in the views that the MRP is profile is assigned. See, this is the way you can do if you create another one and you realize that this product should be assigned to the two, to the three, to the next, or whatever new profile you have created. Okay, the same process. When you assign it for the first time, yeah, well, actually, I was not doing anything. Was not my intention. It's just saying that. Okay, so basically, I'm not going to save anything. Okay, it's the same material, the same profile for this material. So, do you want to save your data? No, this time. Okay, so the profile was assigned, and that's it. That's the usage of the profile. So now you know how to apply that and change it if you have a second or third another profile that you want to change for the same product. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.